Ingles.fm, Real English Conversations, Series 1. Podcast 1. Beach Life. La vida en la playa. Este podcast contiene una conversación real y sin guión entre dos hablantes nativos de inglés, Mark y Tom. Oirás primero la conversación y a continuación una clase de inglés con explicaciones en español. Cada podcast viene con un workbook detallado que puedes descargar desde nuestra página web, ingles.fm. Incluye una transcripción completa de la conversación, listas de vocabulario, notas culturales y la clase. Recuerda que los miembros de nuestra lista de distribución reciben gratis transcripciones extra de nuestros podcasts, además de muchas otras cosas gratis. Así que no olvides apuntarte al consultar la página. ¡Buena suerte!
Hi, my name's Tom, and I'm sitting here with Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Tom.
Today we're sitting on a lot of rocks, going out to sea on Barceloneta Beach in Barcelona, Spain. And what can we see around us?
Well, it's a very sunny day today, clear blue sky, crystal water, and we're sitting not too far from the iconic Arts Hotel and the Mapfre Tower.
Yeah, and just behind Mark, where he's sitting, I'm facing the beach. A whole load of families and people swimming, because it's now the school holidays in Spain, isn't it? There were tons of people coming on the train.
Yeah, it was very full.
So, to begin with, we're going to talk a little bit about our travels, because we've been to beaches in lots and lots of countries, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
And where have you been, for example, Mark?
Apart from the normal European destinations, spent time on beaches in Central America, Australia, Fiji and North Africa, where I spent a summer in Morocco.
Yep, and I've also been to Central America with Mark in 1993, wasn't it?
Yes, I think it was.
Where we went to Mexico, Guatemala and Belize, and I've spent 3 years in Thailand, and I've been to Goa in India, various beaches around Europe, Australia as well, I was there for a couple of years, and the Middle East, a few places in the Middle East.
Quite a wide selection I think we've got there.
Yeah, so that's why we feel qualified to talk about beaches. Now, what's out of all the beaches that you've been to, probably your favourite beaches?
I think for me, Key Corker in Belize, where we lived for about 10 days, was amazing because it was my first real experience of the white sand, the deep blue ocean around while we were living on an island, and we could see other islands. That was the typical desert island image for me. But since then, I've been to Jarvis Bay in New South Wales, just south of Sydney, which was very amazing also. Very enclosed bay, white sand, palm trees and wild kangaroos coming down to the beach to investigate.
Yeah, I went to Jarvis Bay as well and thought it was incredible and saw loads of pods of dolphins swimming there, and you could go kayaking in the bay, and very, very spectacular place. But for me, in Australia, my favourite beach was Whitehaven in Queensland.
Ah yes, Whitehaven.
It's a very famous beach in Australia. There's no development, it's a totally undeveloped beach, and you have to get a yacht there. And we slept the night in a yacht just off the beach, swam to the beach at dawn, and it's a kind of 5 kilometre long, perfect white sand beach, and the sand is just like snow, it crunches when you walk on it.
My God.
And they even make lenses for contact lenses and glasses out of the sand because the silica content is so high. So a perfect beach, that one. But apart from that, probably my favourite beaches have to be in Thailand, because I've spent so long there. And again, there's lots of classic desert island beaches there on some of the islands around the Koh Chang area.
Well, tell us about a couple of the favourites.
Ooh, I think probably Koh Lipe in the south of Thailand, although it's become a bit overdeveloped now. It's right on the Malaysian border, and it's big wave, and it's just a beautiful white sand island, and there are no cars, no motorbikes, and you just walk between the different beaches going through small island trails, and yeah, it's fantastic, very relaxing, very chilled out place. So, beach activities. how do we spend our time on beaches, or at least how did you used to spend your time, Mark?
I didn't really used to spend much time on beaches. I used to go to them, walk along them, take lots of photographs, but I wasn't really a person who liked sitting in the sun doing nothing. So I always had to find something to do. But now as I've got older, I'm quite happy to sit in the sun reading a good book, but normally not too far from a beach bar, so can get out of the sun from time to time and always have a cold beer.
So you're not really into sunbathing?
No, not really. I prefer to do more.
But you did enjoy that, the hammock life in Mexico, didn't you?
Yes.
Especially at Zipolite Beach, I remember.
Yeah, that was quite spectacular. But again, there was many things to see there. The beach was so long that we could go walking for an hour, change of scenery, if not come back to our hammocks under the palm trees, a combination of activities.
Yeah, I used to spend a lot more time sunbathing than nowadays, and I tend to get quite bored after a couple of hours now, but I do love water sports, and I love to swim and snorkel, and particularly in Australia I did a lot of surfing, and when I was in Nicaragua I did surfing as well, a lot of surfing. But nowadays, yeah, I tend to not enjoy spending 6 hours lying in the sun and roasting and becoming a lobster, as we say in English.
Yes.
Anyway, should we talk a little bit more about Spain, seeing as we're here and we're both living in Spain?
Yes, good idea.
So, do we know how many tourists Spain has every year, approximately?
Well, when I was doing some research, I found it was the third most popular tourist destination in the world.
Really?
Yeah, recent figures suggest 52 million tourists a year come to Spain for their holidays.
So that's actually more than the entire population of Spain, isn't it?
Yes, I think by quite some way, maybe about 20% more.
And Spain has a claim to fame, and what is it?
It's the country in the world with the most blue flag beaches.
What on earth is a blue flag beach?
Well, Blue Flag Beach is an international recognition, an award given to beaches that are very clean, with a high quality of the water, no litter on the beach, there are regular patrols, and very well maintained beaches. And Spain is the country with the most of them in the world.
And how many are there?
522, I believe.
Yeah, we did a bit of research on this, and there's about 3,000 around the world, and there are actually 87 in Catalonia where we are now, which is quite a surprise because we only really know about 4 or 5 beaches here, but I guess it's on the Costa Brava, a lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of very clean beaches up there because there is a big tourist industry based around diving and snorkeling. So the water obviously has to be clear if many people are going to take advantage of the facilities.
My favourite beaches are down in Andalusia. There are also 60 or 70 blue flag beaches down there, and I spend a lot of time down there because my family has a house near Cadiz.
In the south of Spain?
Yeah, in the south. And my favourite beach is probably Bologna, which is a very special beach. It's a huge crescent of golden sand and very greeny, bluey water. And at one end of the beach there's a gigantic sand dune about 400 meters high with views all the way down the coastline, and there's also some Roman ruins there because it used to be a Roman settlement 2,000 years ago, so it's quite an interesting place and a lot of history.
It sounds great, so it'd be ideal for someone like me. So you have the beach, you have the dunes, you have the history.
And a couple of beach bars.
Fantastic. Lots of activities, not just lying on the beach.
So finally, we're just going to talk about beach dangers. What do you think, what springs to mind as a danger that might befall someone whilst they're on a beach?
If they're swimming and they might get caught in an underwater current and taken out of their depth and possibly drown.
Yep, that's one of the main dangers, and we actually witnessed a near drowning in Zipolite in Mexico, didn't we?
Yeah, that was quite scary.
With ferocious Pacific currents there, and there were very strong riptides that took people out, and actually while we were living on the beach 2 people did drown out of about 150 people, so quite frightening currents. What else is a danger on beaches?
Depending on where you are, I would say sharks, jellyfish, any stingrays, any other dangerous wildlife you might encounter.
Yeah, I got savagely stung by a Portuguese man-of-war jellyfish in Australia that probably nearly put an end to me.
Doesn't sound very pleasant.
What else? Sunstroke. In Australia, the English are famous for arriving in Australia and drinking so much beer they fall asleep on the sand and then end up in hospital and end up being repatriated back to England, having just arrived. You must have witnessed a few Irish and English people drunk and asleep and very red on beaches.
Yes, and more or less any place we've been to. I mean, it's very common in Spain where parties of people come over to cities like Barcelona because of the beach, but for stag weekends or hen weekends before some of their friends get married, and it's basically an excuse to get drunk for 3 days. But they will then go to the beach, fall asleep, and whereas in English, I think we've mentioned, we refer to someone as being read as a lobster. An interesting linguistic point, in Spain they refer to them as prawns. So there is a strange seafood connection between the two languages, referring to English people who don't know how to moderate their behaviour in the sun.
And on that note, shall we go and hide in the shade in a nice beach bar and grab a nice icy cold beer?
That sounds great. It's very hot here, why not?
Bye.
Bye.
Hola, me llamo Rosario. Y en la clase de inglés de hoy vamos a centrarnos en un par de expresiones muy útiles de la conversación de Tom y Mark. Cuando hablaban de beach dangers, Mark dijo que era un peligro que la gente might get caught in an underwater current and taken out of their depth. Vamos a centrarnos en la parte en la que Mark dijo out of their depth. Literalmente en español, esto sería fuera de su profundidad. En este caso, significa que el agua les cubriría la cabeza estando de pie. Sin embargo, hay un segundo uso idiomático de esta expresión que es muy común en inglés. Se usa para decir que no se tiene el conocimiento, experiencia o habilidad para tratar un tema o situación en concreto. Aquí hay algunos ejemplos.
My new job is so difficult, I'm totally out of my depth. Mark felt so out of his depth in his advanced Spanish class that he changed to intermediate. We went to a party last weekend and everyone was talking about Spanish politics. We were completely out of our depth.
La construcción de esta expresión es to be out of más pronombre posesivo más depth. Repite los siguientes ejemplos durante las pausas.
I'm out of my depth. I'm out of my depth. You are out of your depth. You are out of your depth. She'll be out of her depth. She'll be out of her depth.
We hope you found this useful and you're no longer out of your depth with this expression. Gracias por acompañarnos con este podcast de Ingles.fm. Recuerda que el workbook contiene una transcripción completa de la conversación, listas de vocabulario, notas culturales y la clase. Lo puedes descargar de forma instantánea desde Ingles.fm. Nos vemos.